Magic Heidi is an invoicing and bookkeeping and expensing software that we've spent years developing. And our goal has always been to keep it super simple. But as our customer base grew, we had to add more features to allow you to do more complex and powerful things. And so our approach has been to hide features within Magic Heidi that still make the experience super simple for people who just need the basic stuff, but that still enables the super users, people who need to be able to do complex things, to do them. And so in this video, I'm going to show you 5 secret features that we built into Magic Heidi. The first one is that you can actually customize your articles much more than you think. For example, here, let's say I have one line that is design, development, and hosting. I can actually create a header. For example, let's call it consulting. If I set units to 0 and price to 0, this will become a header. And you see it because it's suddenly bold here. And this means I can add, for example, multiple lines. Here we have design, development, hosting. I can add one more line, for example, brainstorming. And they will all be under that header. And if I put a price of 0, units of 0, and just no text at all, just empty, like just a space, that will actually be a buffer, like just empty space. And so I can add the discount a bit below. And so now let's just generate that invoice to see how it looks like. And so you will see you have your header that has no price, no units, and then you have the different elements, and then you have a separator, and then you have your discount. So that's one nice way to customize your invoice that is a bit hidden in the app. The next thing is some of you have terms and conditions if you do photography or things like this, and you want to include them in your invoice. And so if you're going to customize invoice, you'll actually find here an invoice attachment feature. So you can upload an attachment. I'll just take, for example, this thing. What is that? Yeah, whatever. That's some train ticket. We'll just take that. And so I can upload a PDF. And if I now generate invoices, that PDF will be attached to the invoice. And see the attached thing here. So this should actually be used for terms and services, things like this, but it makes your life much more easier and you will always have your terms and conditions attached to the invoice. The next feature that is slightly hidden, but not that much, is that you can have items with 2 lines. So for example, you can have a header to describe it, like that's actually the case with default here, where you have a header to describe what you're doing, and then a description. And by default, the first line would again be a header, and the second line a description. So this means you can also add more descriptions, like blah blah. Actually, let me just do this properly. On the other line, there we are. And so if we generate this invoice again, now the invoice is getting quite complicated, but we have the multiple lines, and the first line becomes a header, and the rest is a description. So again, a nice little hack here. Then the next feature I want to show you is the ability to add expense categories. So by default, you have sort of a few expense categories here, and you can just create your own. For example, a conference. And let's just do some blah blah example here. There we are. And now I actually have this new category here. And if I just pick an expense that I want to be scanned. In this case, it's a ticket for a conference. The AI will not only pre-fill the price, the description, and so on, but it will also pre-fill the category from the categories you actually created. So it learns from you and is smart in that way. And you see it picked the right category here. And then I can just set the payment method and done. And so this makes accounting even more simple and allows you to create your own categories, and the AI will take that into account. And finally, sometimes you are issuing invoices to customers who are in England or in America, and you need to invoice them in dollars. So that's obviously easy. You can just change the currency here to dollar, for example. And now you will have your quote, but in this case, we actually want it to be an invoice. Yeah. You will actually have your quote in dollars, but sometimes you also need them to pay you via a specific thing. Like here, you still have your Swiss QR code, you still have your Swiss payment details, but you might not want that. And so if you go into company details and you go down into custom bank details, you will here be able to override and just write whatever you want. So it might be an American bank account with an American address, like, and you can just write everything you want. You have space to just describe what you need for people to pay you. And then the next time you generate an invoice in dollars, that will be displayed instead of the QR code, which is more relevant for Americans to pay you, for example. So those were the 5 secret features built in Magic Heidi. I hope you discovered something that might be useful for you, and we wish you a great day.